And when that had no effect, he moved on to slapping Jean, of course.
Bro, that's just disrespectful.
Oh, what's up? Oh, what's up?
Yo, what up? It's Amaj back at another video. Today we're about to be getting into a video by Atazi, and the video is going to be on kick streamers charged with IRL streaming passing. This video is going to be on that French streamer that passed away a long time, well, a few months ago, and I guess this was consented during the stream when he was taking all that abuse or something. I don't know how it goes, but he passed away on live stream because of them, and now they're being charged with it. But let's get into it.
French IRL streamer passed away live on stream after a 10-day marathon where his friends subjected him to abuse so brutal that they're now being held on criminal charges including assault, incitement of hatred, abuse of a vulnerable person, and recording and broadcasting violent images.
After months of physical violence and humiliation on the Le Local group's Kick channel, 298 hours into a live stream, one of the group's other members reached for a bottle to throw at Jean Pormanove to wake him up. But the 46-year-old streamer had died in his sleep. His autopsy, scheduled for Thursday, will look to establish whether his co-streamers bear responsibility. Authorities have come under fire for failure to prevent the months of violence in plain sight.
I mean, watching these clips, especially...
I mean, even seeing this, even if he consented to all this and like y'all were live streaming, why would y'all even just do this? Like, well, what's the point of even doing this? I know people could just say clout, money, but like, why, bro? If he's your friend, why would you even just like try to even make this into like a try to entertaining video? People just will do anything for money, and it's sad.
Seeing a bunch of these uncensored ones that went viral on Twitter shortly after this originally happened is beyond depressing, and it shows how messed up the attention economy is, because people will apparently torment someone until their last breath for social media attention. And to make things even worse for the streaming site, French authorities have now requested arrest warrants for Kick's Australia-based executives, meaning this is going to get a whole lot bigger and likely messier than Kick ever wanted to or even expected. Many of you guys have probably heard of this story by now because it happened like 6 months ago, but there's been some recent updates that are honestly crazy. But the story that we're talking about today is another case of just psychotic clout-hungry streamers seeing how far they can push the boundaries, or honestly, lack of boundaries that are on Kick. And while Kick is known for degeneracy, this time it extended way past the usual controversies, when on August 18th, 2025, a 46-year-old French content creator known as Jean Pormanove, or JP, he passed away in his sleep on stream. And all of this happened after he was essentially tormented by his friends live for the entire world to see for 10 straight days. And while the autopsy suggests that his death was due to exhaustion, once you see some of the things that JP endured, it's hard to believe it wasn't a contributing factor. And I'm sure a lot of you guys couldn't avoid seeing some of the things he was subjected to being plastered all over the internet. Even if it started as a joke to get attention online, it's easy to see how tiring and...
Bro, Twitch, I mean not Twitch, I mean Kick's like little monitors are literally online for this now. It literally took a death for them to just start monitoring and you know, banning people for real on the streams after a whole like person passing away on somebody else's live stream. Bro, this is just even like horrible even for like attention seeking standards. Like, you literally tortured this guy to his eventually passing away just for like attention online. But I don't
even
know.
Fatal this could have become. I mean, just 4 days before his passing, JP expressed in text to his mother just how exhausted he was and how he felt trapped in what he described as a death game. And out of the gate, it seemed like the French government was hoping to make an example out of the controversial streaming site, since they reportedly launched an investigation into whether Kick was knowingly broadcasting, in their own words, videos of deliberate attacks on personal integrity. But, you know, for about half a year, we didn't even hear anything until on January 27th, 2026, French prosecutors requested arrest warrants for Kick's Australia-based executives, meaning it's getting serious now. But let's back things up just a little bit and give some context, because what if I told you this isn't even the first time these streamers have been under criminal investigation for the exact same content, And this
What?
potentially could have been prevented because JP, who was a popular French streamer known for his volatile.
So this was the second time these fools got in trouble for doing this? Oh yeah. Kick gonna have to take like a good bad nightmare PR storm for this. They gotta like take the brunt of all of this fault. Like, how the hell do you not like manage this shit? If y'all like known, bro, they should have been banned indefinitely the first time, honestly, to prevent this shit from happening. Like, I bet they on the lookout for like future shit that's happening right here now. Like, if some streamer becomes controversial on their platform, they gotta start banning these niggas.
Reactions and his extreme challenges. He was recruited to be a part of this like streaming house called Le Local by Owen Cenazandotti, who goes by Naruto, and Safine Hamadi, who posed as his friends, I guess, but now are being criminally charged after, contributing to this marathon stream in which Jean's life ultimately ended. Since at least 2023, Jean has been essentially tormented by these friends on Kick for public entertainment, with the punishments ranging from things like, firing paintball guns at him to choking him for increasingly longer intervals each time. In many of these clips, Jean is heard shouting for them to stop and trying to get away, but he continues to show up to these streams day after day as they generate, subscribers, donations, and a very large fan base. Yeah, and this content is just incredibly hard to watch. And it's even harder to imagine that they grew such a large audience off of something that feels like a Black Mirror episode. But it seems like the Kick French Twitter account was happily promoting their streams often, and even allegedly using photos of Jean on a Kick t-shirt, clearly being humiliated on stream to sell merch. So I mean, it's hard to say they weren't aware of what was going on, since it looks like they might have been using this for marketing, but it seems like everyone, including Jean, was happy to continue to laugh at everything going on. And
This is bad essentially because like, when a person sees like money flooding in, everything kind of just blinds them. And then as soon as they see dollars rolling in and like, like, oh, I gotta do this. I gotta do this just to make some money. Oh man, I just feel bad for them, man. Especially like a vulnerable person like that too. And like these people were taking advantage of them, and essentially Kick was taking advantage of him because they know shit was going on the first time. And I'm really glad these fools are just getting arrested right now, and like fault is going on them for this shit because it's essentially their fault.
instead of, rightfully questioning if all of this was just a little bit too crazy, because remember when I said that this wasn't the first time this group had been in hot water for the legality of this content? Well, back in December 2024, there was actually an investigation launched into Owen and Safine for the possible torture that they were live streaming to a massive audience. And they were even held by the police for one day in January 2025. But even when given the opportunity, JP refused to accuse them of any wrongdoing or press charges, so it was all dropped. So it kind of seems like they all agreed on that this was just an act to generate money through social media, until it wasn't, I guess. There's also this really creepy clip where Owen and Safine pressured JP into essentially saying that if he passes away on stream, that it's not their fault. So yeah, I mean, it kind of seems like the guys knew what they were doing could potentially end in a fatal way. And on August 18th, it unfortunately did. After streaming for over 290 hours straight during one of their marathon streams, a group of the local boys, including Owen and JP, started waking up one by one on camera. When Jean didn't wake up, Owen tossed a water bottle at his head, and when that had no effect, he moved on to slapping Jean, of course. And it instantly became clear that something was wrong, and they immediately ended the stream. And obviously, news of JP's passing spread like wildfire across social media, prompting people to dig into the past streams, where they realized,
Bro, that's just disrespectful. If you see the dude not fucking responding and you go to slapping him, like I know the content was on there was just all like vulgar and like hitting him and stuff, but nigga, you go to just like disrespecting essentially a corpse. It's just crazy. I'm not gonna make the excuse like some saying that they didn't know that bro wasn't moving, and you go to start slapping him to wake him up instead of just like being like, "Wake up, bro."
the mental and physical abuse extended like way further back than just this one marathon. So then the question was, remember, he was like, oh, this is all staged for social media content. Was that true? Was it all staged? Or was it kind of like Stockholm syndrome? Like, what was keeping John coming back? Well, it is alleged that when he gave any pushback to the group, he would be threatened with things like, you know, being kicked out of his apartment or having his car taken away. Because even though Jean was being subjected to this abuse and, you know, he was kind of the star of the show, it still wasn't his streaming house or his team. So think about it. When your home and your main source of income is tied to this content, it's probably hard to imagine walking away from that despite how bad it seemed to get. So what was Owen's defense?
That's fucked up. They like really not giving him no alternative to just like leave or anything. So these people are just essentially dickheads and literally using this guy. Well, was using this guy.
Well, he claims that it was all scripted and that all the events were just staged. Unfortunately, though, Jean isn't here to share his side. So it's hard to know, but if you spend any time watching through these clips, it's hard not to get infuriated. And Owen even went as far to claim that he was being cyberbullied during all this, but what does he then classify his treatment of John as? Like, this just doesn't make sense. But tons of people, they've been calling out not only Owen and Safine, but Kick in general. Because how did they let this get so far? Like, based on how many people that were calling this out even before JP's passing, you kind of have to assume that this was also flagged in their Kick channels. Like, were they just turning a blind eye? Honestly, we might find out, because French authorities quickly opened an investigation into the Australian video platform. The Paris prosecutor said the investigation will look into whether Kick knowingly broadcasted videos of deliberate attacks on personal integrity. They're also trying to determine whether Kick complied with their obligation to notify the authorities if
I'm not gonna lie, I don't trust Kick at all. So I definitely think they literally ignored all of this shit and literally let this shit slide because it was bringing them in views.
the life or safety of individuals is in question, which clearly it was. And it was also announced by France's Minister of Digital Affairs, Clara Chappas, that the government would sue the platform for negligence over its failure to block dangerous content. And on top of all that, Kick could actually be faced with a penalty of up to $49 million under Australian online safety laws. So let's just hope, at the bare minimum, they prevent something like this from ever happening again. Because unfortunately, I feel like this kind of stuff was inevitable. When you build a platform essentially inviting a bunch of degenerates on and pretty much branding themselves as like free speech, no censorship platform. So naturally, a bunch of degenerates join and immediately start streaming themselves being awful human beings. And no, I'm not saying just because you've streamed on Kick that you're an awful person. I'm just saying that awful people often gravitate to places where they can get away with being awful. So something crazy like this happening was kind of inevitable. But this is probably why there's been no platforms really like Kick, and every other, social media platform or like content platform that doesn't censor that much inevitably gets shut down, because it is absolutely not cheap getting sued a whole bunch. And as I briefly mentioned earlier, just days ago, French authorities have requested arrest warrants for the Kick Australia-based executives because, yeah, as I mentioned, they failed to respond to previous subpoenas for questioning regarding this case. So I guess the goal is to question these executives about their observations of the many situations and measures that Kick may have taken to comply with regulations in the months following to Jean's passing. But it gets worse, because prosecutors also believe that Kick directors could have financially contributed to Cenazandotti and Hamadi's Kick channel, saying that they're looking into the company's financial records now, because apparently suspicious financial transactions have been identified, leading to a suspicion that the channel was directly funded by Kick and its directors. So that's what they told the French news outlets. And honestly, I mean, that could mean a few things. So obviously they were financially benefiting from Kick because they were, to my knowledge, Kick partners and they were streaming on Kick. But are they trying to say that like Kick directors were directly donating to the stream to incentivize the stuff that was going on here? Is that what they're saying? Because if so, that would be crazy. And that would also make...
Oh my gosh. This whole thing and them not giving this guy an alternative to just get out of there and threatening him and threatening his income is just so fucked up. Like, Bro, I really don't get like why streamers and why this type of shit just got monetized back then. If Kick is at fault, I know it has to be Kick at fault right there. This controversy is about to blow up in their face, and it might be the end of Kick. I mean, they got money, but like he said, nobody can't afford to keep getting sued, and they might try to sue these people for like millions of dollars because a loss of a life was right there. And if all of those like little assumptions come true, that they were, you know, supplying them with views and shit, and they were a Kick partner, this shit's about to be terrible. I feel like a lot of people gravitate toward these type of platforms because like there hasn't been like a thing like Kick, and that's why a lot of these streaming sites and a lot of these like things like have like rules and shit. And Kick in the early days advertised like, oh yeah, come over here, we have no rules. They advertised that, and a lot of banned people came over there, and then down the line they learned that they couldn't really fucking do that, and which is figure out it causes a lot of controversies, and it causes people to fucking act out on their platform and gets them into huge shit. Like I really don't know what the fucking even say about Kick anymore, bro. This shit is just needs to go. It's not a competitor to Twitch anymore. I feel like it's just like a toxic ass platform that just needs to just not get knocked off. I know people see that as an alternative for like money, but like, is money really worth your respect on that shit? But hey, man, if you guys enjoyed that video, not enjoyed, I'm sorry, but if you guys liked that video, leave a like and subscribe. Go check out Atazi, and we on the road to 300. Catch you guys in the next video.